Welcome to lesson 77 of course 2 of Saxon Math. In this lesson we're going to talk about solving word problems using percents of a number. We've done this before. It should be just a little more practice with stuff that we've already done. Okay, so let's get started. On example 1 we've got what percent of 40 is 25? Well, you remember that for the what percent we make that our variable, and we're going to want to isolate our variable. So we write WP. Then we know that of equals times and is equals. So then we just write it out. So what percent times 40 equals 25? Well, we know that we've got to isolate that variable of WP, and because it's being multiplied, we're going to do the opposite function, and we're going to divide by 40. By doing that, that eliminates the 40 and leaves us just with the variable of what percent. And then when we divide the 25 by 40, we simplify that down to 5/8. So once we have that, then we convert that fraction into the percentage, and we end up with 62.5%. So we've done this before. You should know how to do it. Let's see if you can do this one. See if you can figure out this one on your own, and then I will demonstrate it for you. Pause the video and work it now. Okay, so we start out with our what percent of means times 350 is 28 cents. All right, so we've got to isolate this, so we have to do the opposite of this. So we're going to divide by 350 on both sides. So what it comes down to is it really comes down to 28 cents being divided by $3.50. Okay, we've got to move that over 2, so we better move this one over 2. Now, how many times does 350 go into 28? It doesn't. How many times does 350 go into 280? It doesn't. How many times does it go into 2800? Well, let's see here. Let's try 7. 35, 21, 24, 32, 245. Can I get one more in there? I get one more in there. So 8 looks like 8. So 8%. That would be a lot easier. Just whip out the calculator. I think would probably be the fastest way to do that one. But you end up with your 8%. All right, let's look at another one. See if you can do this one. Just write it first of all, and then see if you can solve it. Okay, let's take a look at it. 75%. So we write 75% of times what number? So what number is equals 600? All right, so again, we're multiplying here, so we need to do the opposite of that, which is division. Well, 75% is hard to divide by, so let's just go ahead and convert that right now to 0.75 and divide by 0.75. And then we're going to divide this side by 0.75. So we're going to end up doing 600 divided by 0.75, and that's going to tell us what our number is. As you can see here, when we do that, we end up at 800. They show it a little bit different here. They do it. They did the reciprocal rather than so that's in percentage. The reciprocal. I did the 0.75, which I think for me is easier. You could do it that way there if you want. You still end up with 600 being divided by 75, which gave us the answer of 800. All right, 50 is what percent of 40? Not 50% of 40. That's not what it's asking. That would be 20. It's not asking that. It says 50 is what percent of 40? Okay, so this is being multiplied, so we got to do the opposite, which is going to be divide by 40. It's going to get rid of that, which leaves us just our what percent equals 50 divided by 40. Now we just simplify it. So that down to 5/4, right? And then we got to convert that into a percentage. That's going to be 1 1/4 when we convert that, and percentage-wise, what is that going to be? Yep, 125%. Which doesn't that make sense? Because isn't 50% is what percent of 40? Well, it's got to be 125% because it's more than 40. So it's got to be higher than 40. The answer's got to be more than 100% because 40 is what percent of 40? 100%. So 50's got to be more than 100% because it's a greater number. Because 40 is what percent of 40? Well, it's 100% of 40. So 125% is our answer. All right, let's do another one. 60 is 150% of what number? Go ahead and solve that one. Work it, see if you get an answer. Okay, so do you think that the answer will be greater than or less than 60, and why? Well, we translate by writing 150% as either a decimal or a fraction. If you write it as, we can use it as a decimal. So 60, because I find that easier, 60 equals 1.5, which is 150, times what number? And then because it's being times, again, we're going to divide by 1.5 right there. Divide both sides by 1.5. So you end up being that 40 is your answer. And 60 is 150% of what number? Well, 100% of 40 is 40. So 60%, the number 60 is going to be another half of this, which is going to be another 20, so that makes it the 150. I know it's a little bit complicated, but if you just work on this, solving for the unknown variable, the what number, then you'll always be okay. All right, let's do the last one. Let's see if you can do this one here. 15% of what number is 45? See if you can solve that one and come up with the answer. Pause your video. Okay, so 15%. I like to do the decimal. Change that to a decimal right now to 0.15 of what number equals 45. Divide by 0.15. Divide by 0.15. What did you get? You should have gotten 300. 15 goes into 45 3 times, and then you've got to come over 2 and give it the 2. It gives you the 300. All right, there's your TIDs. Work on those tonight. Bring your questions tomorrow. We'll work on the assignment as a classroom as a whole. And thank you for watching the video.